What is going on, guys? Chris here. Welcome back to another Walking Dead episode recap, breakdown, whatever you want to call it. This week's episode was Season 9, Episode 10, Omega. It basically gave us a backstory on Alpha, which is very interesting because in the past we didn't get backstories all that much. We got a little bit of backstory on the governor and whatnot, but it didn't actually, from what I remember, actually go back to, when his wife died and daughter and all that. And then even Negan, which would have been a very interesting backstory for me. They actually did an entire comic series to give Negan's backstory. We didn't really get to see any of his either, and I would have been interested to see that. So I don't know if that's Angela Kang, the new showrunner, deciding to do this, but I like that we're getting backstory on the villain. I don't know if we should be calling her a villain, but Alpha, again, I haven't read the comics, so when I'm talking, I'm only talking from the experiences of watching The Walking Dead from week to week, but I know that people are interested in Alpha. Being introduced to the show. Alpha is the leader of the Whisperers. We got more details on what the Whisperers were and what they were about last episode, and then we got teased for it a little bit last season. So Lydia, who Daryl and the rest of our group currently has captured, is one of the Whisperers and daughter of Alpha. So we got basically just a deep backstory of their interactions stemming from when she was a child to now. And it kind of also shows you the time lapse of when the series started. So that was interesting to see. We got to see she was a little girl when all this started, and now she's mid-teens, maybe. If I would guess in the show, she's probably somewhere between 15 and 18 or somewhere, which means the story has progressed about 10 to 12 years. Just randomly guessing. I know we had like a 6-year jump here and there. So we're at almost 15 years of people surviving this apocalypse. And this is the only world Lydia has pretty much ever known. So we get all these stories, this backstory on how her mother, Alpha, treated her, how it defined who she was as a person. And we see Daryl step up in the leader role to kind of define himself as a leader. So that's very interesting as well. That plays a lot into the story. So getting a backstory on the villain, which we didn't have in the past, is very interesting. They have obviously captured 2 of the group, and now they have somebody to trade. So in the preview for next episode, you see Daryl start to try and stick up for Lydia by saying, no, you can't have her. That's obviously going to bring it to a situation where they threaten to kill them, if they don't give Lydia back. So that'll be an interesting decision for Daryl. We have seen Rick make countless decisions like these. Rick always tried to do the right thing. So we're going to see how Daryl does it. I think Daryl will probably make the same types of decisions as Rick. I think Daryl grew a lot from letting Rick make decisions and kind of just sitting back and watching. Now that Daryl is the forefront of the main characters, I would probably say he is pretty much as close as you could get to the main character. I thought it was going to be more Michonne, but honestly, we're seeing a lot more of Daryl. And I'm okay with it. When Rick was going to leave, I was kind of iffy, to be honest. I cared about Rick's story. Rick getting his children, his family, his friends to survive a post-apocalyptic world. That was my story. It's probably fair to say I'm not as invested. I still very much like the show. I did a video covering how I think they saved the show by allowing Rick to exit the show in the way he did without killing him, so we can get more story on what's going on with him. So I'm a little bit more interested now. I like the way the story is progressing. The Whisperers, as I mentioned last week's episode, are a very new spin that we haven't seen in a while. It's stemming more towards horror. And the character development so far for Lydia and Alpha is going very well. We got to see Alpha just change from concerned mom to she just snaps, and it would be interesting. The reason I like The Walking Dead so much is because I like to put myself in the scenarios of people inside the TV show in terms of decision making and see what my thought process would be, right? Because there's not always a right decision in The Walking Dead. Sometimes you save somebody and it's the wrong decision. Sometimes you allow somebody into your camp and it's the wrong decision. Sometimes you send them away to die and it's the wrong decision. There's not really ever a complete right and wrong. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't really the right thing anymore, if that makes sense. So it's just, that's what I like about this show probably the most, is that a lot of these scenarios are realistic scenarios, that decisions that would have to be made if an apocalyptic type event happened in our society. Those would be decisions. A world without law, a world without law enforcement, all this stuff could definitely bring out the worst in people. So seeing Alpha go from concerned mom to snapping, but I guess we don't really know, because she did kind of adjust her story a bit. So now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if she went from concerned mom to nuts or if she was nuts the whole time. I know the last flashback sequence of story we got where she kills Lydia's dad, and she does kill that guy. So she could have just been nuts the whole time, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So she arrives at the gates with some whisperers and is basically like, we want one thing. That thing is obviously going to be Lydia. She rolled up looking like the doll from Toy Story, and and was basically like, we want one thing, give her up. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be an interesting dynamic. It'll be an interesting point to see how Daryl handles a decision like that, being in charge. We are starting to see more and more people that weren't in charge having to step up and take responsibility and take action and decisions in a role that they haven't normally done. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Even Daryl at some point is like, this is someone else's issue. They can handle it. But then he kind of realizes he's connecting with Lydia a bit because of her past and his past, etc., etc. So I liked the interaction they had when they were talking about Carol, that I didn't even think about this when she grew her hair back out this season. I understood the reasoning for her having her hair short in the first place, but I never really connected it that this is now why she has long hair again. Like, she finally feels safe from, I don't remember his name. Nope, too long ago. From her ex-husband, the husband you met in he's probably only in the first couple episodes. So it's the first time she's felt safe. I didn't really connect those dots. I connected the dots that, that's why she had her hair short from way back when, but I never really connected the dots to say that's why her hair is long now. Actually, when I first saw it, I was like, why is her hair long? That's weird. But makes sense now. So in the comments below, let me know what you guys thought about the episode. If there's something important, a dynamic of the episode that I missed, feel free to bring it up. We can chat about it. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe. I put out videos pretty much every day, from gaming to The Walking Dead. We'll be covering recaps each week. If you only want to stop in for these episodes, it's 100% fine. We'll also be covering Game of Thrones and any future TV shows that are worth covering, probably. For right now, it's just The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. So, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'll see you guys next week for Season 9, Episode 11. Don't know the title. Okay, bye.